What's going on, gamers? We got some more inside intel here. Apparently, as an exclusive report from MP first, and also coming from Reddit, which people are finding it and posting it over here. I had another post too that I just looked at because I wanted to look at both just to make sure it wasn't just no rumor or whatever, but apparently it's supposed to be real, which I'm pretty sure it makes sense. So going down here, the title here, or what we're going to be talking about is what's going to be happening with PlayStation 6 as far as cloud streaming, machine learning, and a new horror game in development and cross-gen focus. Definitely at the beginning of the generation, which I believe obviously they need for games that are going to be exclusive in the PlayStation ecosystem. So Rhino has it more detailed here so we don't have to pull up anything else. And he's just putting rumor, which, that's fine because Sony didn't officially say it. But this pretty much makes sense, and we're going to talk about why it does. It says updates on the PlayStation 6 machine learning, cloud streaming, and a new horror game in development. Everybody's also saying that they think Until Dawn 2 has been in development and it's going to be a next-gen horror game, but it might be cross-gen with PS5 and PS6, which kind of makes sense. I don't really care because that's been proven to not really matter by Capcom. I don't know if you guys read what Capcom said about, because this is going to get into cross-gen, about the Resident Evil engine, why it had no problem being 60 frames per second on the Switch, because they did not design the game and the engine to be exclusive to a console where they built the engine around a next-gen device. No, they built the engine to be scalable. It does not matter whether it's cross-gen or not. If the engine is good enough, you can play it on much better settings. We've seen this when games go like in the PS4 era, maybe the PS3 era, and then you put it on PC and it's just so much better once they learn how to optimize it for it. And people were having problems with it before, but that's because they weren't building the engines to be scalable. They were building them as exclusives probably on one platform or to be on this one device, which is not the case in this industry today because everything launches on so many devices all the way down to the Steam Deck and Switch 2 now. So it's not really a problem when you think about cross-gen when the PS5 itself is still more powerful than the Switch 2. And it's going to be getting a lot of third-party games and it has been, so it's not a problem. So Sony has a team, according to what they're saying, developing assets 2D and 5D for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 6. So when you think about assets, you have 2D and 3D assets. Yeah, there's going to be a balance here. It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to turn out. Assets described as AAA quality. So they have a lot of games that you probably don't know about that are going to be announced next year and beyond that are going to be for PS5 and PS6, or games are going to be coming out at the beginning of the PS6 launch, getting PS6 support. We've seen this before with Naughty Dog games and a ton of other PlayStation games. With the PS5 launch, all those games are getting PS5 support. And then you'll have PSSR 2 being on those games. And then you'll see the toggle on PS6 for PSSR 3, and you'll automatically get that update. And then you'll get enhanced PlayStation 5 games, like you have the enhanced toggle for PS4 games on the PS5. Expect that type of stuff to be there. This is where I say that their ecosystem is built very well to support backwards compatibility and enhancements in a good sense that's exclusive and has its own identity. So expect that to happen. As I was saying, cross-gen titles going into next-gen are to be expected. Yeah, if you didn't see that, I don't know what to tell you because that is 100% going to happen. It's not about PS6 only exclusives, but it's about exclusives in the PS6 ecosystem to where you can have the lower cheap entry PS5. If this, when the price drops right now, I wouldn't call that cheap. It should be like $400 right now, whatever. But when that happens, obviously they're going to have to drop the price of that. But that'll be the low end PC. The PS5 Pro will be like kind of mid-entry PC at that point, and the PS6 is going to be high-end if you want to play on those settings. And then the handheld will be a hybrid between the PlayStation 5 and the PS5 Pro, kind of like in the middle ground of that. You can kind of expect something like that. So you'll have that off-the-screen experience only in the PlayStation ecosystem, whatever is not going to be going to PC or the Helix, if you want to think of that as a console hitting PlayStation games, which to me is just another PC with backwards compatibility supports in the Xbox world. So cross-gen has to be there because if you're going to be selling your games, which mostly sell in the PlayStation ecosystem, we've seen the results on Steam, then you need to include the base PlayStation 5. You need to include PS5 Pro, you know what I mean, and put the handheld out too, so people could have that support there. They're still going to still be there, and you'll be able to get your sales that you need, rather than trying to make it a PS6 exclusive only. No, don't do that, right? Not till it gets going on its own. So that's why I feel like cross-gen titles going into next-gen are to be expected, like PS4, PS5 transition. 100% makes sense, and like I said, it's all about the engine scalability. Sony is looking to further build and enhance social apps on the platforms. So what they're describing this as, definitely on Reddit too, is Sony has next-gen social apps being ready to be built in. And we can kind of see that that's going to be something that needs to be protected as well. It's going to be interesting to see because this is something new we haven't seen. Next-gen social apps, what does that mean? Interesting stuff. Well, we've seen them add in interesting things into the software, like SharePlay, right? And then for PS5, you had group SharePlay on the phone. We know that there's going to be some stuff with the cloud going on as well. So it is going to be interesting to see how Sony takes the social future of PS6 to the next level, because that's its next-gen social apps. For that, that's for PS6 only. So yeah, I want you guys to let me know what you think about that type of stuff happening. Definitely if you're big on, you know, social and all that. Video streaming and multitasking as they are on PS4 and PS5. So I think what Sony's going to do is they're going to make it to where probably you could stream 4K 60 now, because on a PS5 Pro, I would have liked if I would have been able to stream 4K 60, but I know that takes up a lot of resources. But with the PS6, you're not going to have to worry about that. You'll be able to straight up stream 4K 60, maybe 4K 120, because the technology is so good, or 1440p 120, stuff like that. You guys kind of get the idea. 1080p 120. I think that's going to be there. The recording is also, I think, going to be able to be 8K recording, like 8K 60, and you may be able to stream 8K 30. Who knows? But if you want me to peer into that for you, that's what I think this means. And multitasking, being able to do multiple things, now that you're going to have like 32 gigabytes of RAM and stuff like that, as like I said, as they are on PS4 and PS5, but think of it being taken to the next level. So far, we've had the team developing 2D assets, 3D assets, new AAA games, cross-gen titles. Sony's having next-gen future assets, 4K 60 streaming, maybe 4K 120, 1440p 120, 1080p 120, and maybe 8K streaming, but for sure 8K recording and multitasking as they are. Sony is partnering with another studio to develop a next-gen game, so maybe this might be something different. Immersive third-person horror shooter. Okay, maybe it's not until Dawn 2, but we know that's being worked on. Unreal Engine 5. I mean, by that time, hopefully it's fine. Horror setting, shooting mechanics, motion performance capture, and a type of player progression system. Thoughts on these updates? Source, NP the First, as we said, that's where it was coming from. This guy says, thoughts, I'm quite concerned over the cross-gen part, but I already told you guys why that's not going to be an issue. Because engine scalability, and we know how good PlayStation engines are. Nothing's going to be held back. I understand it's challenging to grow on a new player base without utilizing a bigger past gen one, but I miss having real generational leaps. That's when things were a little bit different. I get what you're saying. Rather than holding games back, like I said, I don't think that's going to be the case this time. So that's why I think that you need to think more about the success of PlayStation 6 and the success of Sony exclusives and the identity growing, rather than thinking like these graphics need to look this much better. Dude, it's already ridiculous. And you're going to be getting path tracing, and you're going to be getting those type of specifications. Most people in the PC world, over 85 to 90%, easily minimum, I could say that, do not have a rig that's going to be coming like the PS6. It'll cost you a couple grand to get that. So when you really think about how good games are going to be looking already, and how they look already right now with PSSR 2, who cares? Like, watch Naughty Dog blow people's mind with Intergalactic, with PS5 Pro, PSSR 2. Watch, you know, just the next God of War, you know what I mean? Gran Turismo 8, all those games are going to look insane. Uncharted 5. See what I mean? So Wolverine's going to look insane. The next gen Venom's going to look insane. Spider-Man 3 on PS6 is going to look absolutely insane. You have nothing to worry about when it comes to that. We already know Sony's games already look insane and movie-like, so I don't think graphics is the point here. It's something farther beyond that. So this was this post right here, and clicking on it, it's not that many comments. Just, I hate the cross-gen part. Somebody else again, where they think about this. It basically ruined this generation of consoles that forced crossplay for half of its life cycle, largely invalidating the need for a PS5. Next gen needs to mean next gen only. I disagree now, because what I just said, Capcom showed you that that's not the case with engine scalability. Go take a look at the Switch 2, Resident Evil, and Steam Deck. Take a look at Xbox Series S, and then go to PSSR 2, and then go to path tracing. You tell me, did Resident Evil 9 get held back? They're not thinking. They're thinking too much in details, but they're not realizing that, damn, you know what? Thinking about that, take a look at Crimson Desert on Series S. and take a look at Crimson Desert on the PSSR 2, and then take a look at Crimson Desert with path tracing. You see what I'm saying? Pragmata, same thing again. It doesn't matter if the engine is good enough. That's not really a problem. So the cross-gen, again, concern is real. PS5 never fully felt next-gen because half the library was built for PS4 too. Things have changed now. I understand why people are feeling this, but like I said, I think they're missing that point. If PS6 launches the same way, the hardware upgrade means nothing for at least 2 years. That depends on what else is there besides thinking about graphics. The leap is already going to be nice, but I think people are not really seeing this. You're going to see when it gets closer and then Sony shows you certain things. I'm telling you, path tracing is going to be a huge selling point on top of, you know, a lot of next gen features that are not just graphic oriented. That's why I say that I'm not worried about that, because that's like saying Switch 2 would have held back this generation. You know, it's like, no, it's not. It's all about being able to scale. Phil Spencer said this before. Tons of other people have said it before. Just that we're in this age now where it's all about scalability. It doesn't really matter. So what matters is if the games are really good and you're able to offer the hardcore enthusiasts and the people that high-end performance and hit that right price point. Man, if they can get the PS6 to be $600, that's going to be insane. $700 is still insane because of what you're going to be getting. The good thing about consoles compared to PCs is that you can go to a place like GameStop or go to some other place and trade in and get a cheaper entry into it. Even if it was $700 and you had a PS5 Pro and you traded in it for $400 or like $380, do you know that you're only paying how much now? You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying, do the math. 300 minus 700, you're only paying $400 for it. 400, 300. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter. At that point, you'll be able to get in and get that. Or if you're a guy that goes to Best Buy and say, I'm going to put this on a 12-month plan, something over $200 and just pay it over time. You can find a way to get the hardware. The hardware is not nothing you need to really worry about. It's going to be fine. And then once you have it, you have it. And, you know, PlayStation consoles hardly ever break or have issues. That's not a problem in the Sony realm. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about these details coming out. Leave a comment down below as usual. Personally, like I said, I'm getting the PS6 day one because I want my upgrades and I like to get myself day one. Yeah, I'm like that. I'm not saying you have to. I know people didn't get the PS5 day one. They didn't get the Series X day one or the Switch 2, and they may be waiting. Hey, that's you. But personally, for me, I do think that when it comes to the PS6 launch, it needs to come out minimum at the end of 2027. But I'm thinking more about early 2028 or summer 2028. I don't know. We're going to find out depending on how this RAM nonsense goes, because it's really getting in the way of gaming and causing a lot of setbacks. We see what's happening with the Steam machine, right? So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Keep on gaming no matter what platform you're on. Hopefully we get some more news, and hopefully that cloud next-gen future is true for the PS6, where you could just straight up only download a little part of the game, save yourself a ton of SSD space, and you don't have to go get something else. Later, y'all.